Hey everyone, this is Cindy at I Am the Open Door. Uh, it is April 14th. This is the hour we've entitled Where the Rubber Meets the Road, where we take a concept or an idea from A Course in Miracles and we share. I just got emotional. We talk about how we can use it in our day-to-day life. Um, Now there's a chill. I'm in a direct experience, which is very cool. So I did email everyone the paragraph, and then I did some work with it this morning. So I have a few more words. So what's going to happen right now, unless somebody interrupts me, which you're always allowed to do, is I'm going to read the paragraph that I opened to for today, and then I'm going to read some more words from A Course in Miracles. Then I'm going to play a song that I've actually never listened to from beginning to end. This is a song that's in our YouTube playlist that Rana at one point sent to me, going, "I just heard this in the sanctuary, and we've got to add it to our playlist." I That's the story anyway. Here, where this song came from. We'll listen to it. I'll read this again. I'll do a quick pointing, and then we'll open it up first for Andrew's share and then whatever anybody else wants to say. And I'm not putting you on the spot, Andrew, if you don't have anything to say. I don't think I've ever had that experience. Okay. So, and Rana was just talking about the fact that what does truth mean? So, the definition of truth, by the way it relates to what I am here is truth is always true. So, it's not my truth versus your truth. It's truth as no one can argue with it. Truth is simply always true. There's no my truth versus your truth. There's no, so perhaps truth being, I know that I am. No one can take that away from me, right? Truth is dot, dot, dot. So here's the paragraph. Truth can only be experienced. It cannot be described and it cannot be explained. I can make you aware of the conditions of truth, but the experience is of God. Together we can meet its conditions. The truth will dawn upon you of itself. What God has willed for you is yours. He has given his will to his treasure, whose treasure it is. Your heart lies where your treasure is, as his does. You who are beloved of God are wholly blessed. Learn this of me and free the holy will of all those who are as blessed as we are. So I have these wonderful experiences when I open the book, like on a Thursday or a Friday, and I get these words. I sit with them for a while, and I don't force the teaching or whatever is going to be shared. This morning, there's only one line that like lit up for me, right? What God has willed for you is yours right away. I opened the book again to um, to Workbook Lesson 101 because it clearly states what God's will for you is. God's will for me is perfect happiness. Workbook Lesson 101. What God has willed for you is yours. God's will for me is perfect happiness. A few more lines from that lesson. Read. God's will for me is perfect happiness because there is no sin and suffering is causeless. Joy is just, and pain is but the sign you have misunderstood yourself. You're not the will of God. with that, I'm going to play this song that I haven't listened to from beginning to end, but arose, and then I'll read all that and speak just a few words, and we'll see what's next. And Barbie, so far I've gotten a lot of luck in keeping the song in the recordings, so I'm going to continue to do that until YouTube tells me I can't. Here we go.
If this life is one act, why do we lay all these traps? We put them right in our path when we just wanna be free. I will not waste my days making up all kinds of ways to worry about all the things that will not happen to me. So I just let go of what I know I don't know, and I know I only do this by living in the moment, living my life easy and breezy, with peace in my mind, with peace in my heart, with peace in my soul. Wherever I'm going, I'm already home, living in the moment. I'm letting myself off the hook for things I've done. I let my past go past, and now I'm having more fun. I'm letting go of the thoughts that do not make me strong, and I believe this way can feel the same for everyone. And if I fall asleep, I know you'll be the one who'll always remind me to live in the moment, living my life easy and breezy, with peace in my mind, with peace in my heart, with peace in my soul. Wherever I'm going, I'm already home. I can't walk through life facing backwards. I have tried more than once to just make sure, and I was denied the future I'd been searching for. I spun around and hurt no more. By living in the moment, living my life easy and breezy, with peace in my mind, with peace in my heart, with peace in my soul. Wherever I'm going, I'm already home. I'm living in the moment, I'm living my life, just taking it easy, with peace in my mind, got peace in my heart, got peace in my soul. Wherever I'm going, I'm already home. I'm living in the moment, I'm living my life easy and breezy, peace in my mind, peace in my heart, peace in my soul. Whenever I'm going, I'm already home, living in the moment.
Ah, I'm emotional. There are tears in my heart leaking. Wherever I'm going, I'm already home. We can let the past behind. I gotta spend more time with the lyrics of that song. Ow. Thank you, Rana. I believe that came from you. Yeah, I think so. All right, let me read this again now that Richard decided to join us in his gorgeous magenta shirt. And Carrie and Kendall. Truth can only be experienced. It cannot be described and it cannot be explained. I can make you aware of the conditions of truth, but the experience is of God. Together we can meet its conditions, but truth will dawn upon you of itself. What God has willed for you is yours. He has given his will to his treasure, whose treasure it is. Your heart lies where your treasure is, as his does. You who are beloved of God are wholly blessed. Learn this of me and free the holy will of all those who are as blessed as we are. And Mel's not in the room, so um, but yet this time as I was sharing this, I felt what Mel, how many different so-called others, like it's, you can state that this is a dualistic paragraph, right? There is a God and there's the one talking to me and there's a me, and yet it all feels like for me choice, and it all feels one, and it all feels like what part of my mind am I listening to in any given moment. And that song is really informing me that I can choose to just be here now and in this present moment, trust. What God has willed for me is what God has willed is mine. And what is God's will? God's will for me is perfect happiness. God's will for me is perfect happiness because there is no sin and suffering is causeless. And if we just sink into what I heard in that song, which I'm going to say it again, I hadn't listened to the whole thing till just now, is that in this present moment, the only place that the past exists is in thought. And God's will for me is perfect happiness. What does that mean? I can drop all the sense that I was in sin or I was wrong or I was bad yesterday. I could give that all to God or the divine or the present moment and trust that this is the only moment that exists and what I am is perfectly acceptable. There's like this craziness that's going on in the head right now, A. And B, in this present moment now, what part of me does not God not love? And from that, and now there's tears, I know that God loves me perfectly. God loves us all perfectly, whatever you want to call God. There's nothing that is rejectable to the divine or the supreme Brahman or to the higher power that you get to trust until you get your whatever, right? God's will for me, all aspects of me is perfect happiness. Joy is just and pain is but the sign you have misunderstood. You believe something other than this. Fear not the will of God and allow yourself to be wholly. Oh, I'm about to say, and allow yourself to be wholly healed. I thought I was going to say, allow yourself to be wholly here. And there's a part of me that recognizes there's no difference in those two statements. Because what is it in the present moment that isn't wholly healed, other than thoughts of the past or the future? All right, Andrew. And then whoever after that.
I have a few short comments, sure. Hello, everyone. I think truth in this instance is synonymous with knowledge. You know, the Course teaches us that we can either have knowledge or perception. Perception is totally different. Perception is what the body does. We need a body to perceive, and we perceive what's not part of us. That's the belief in separation, that we think we're all individuals. So truth in the world can mean many things to many people, but the one truth, which is the knowledge of God, is the final step, like the Course tells us that God takes the final step to enlighten us. We can get to the borderland, we could get to the bridge, but God crosses the bridge and brings us across. So that's the part that God plays, and sure, we're all part of God. Truth in the world, the only thing that we could really say that anyone could say is true without dispute is life is. You can't deny life because you have to be alive to deny it. But anything else can be put to question, like, does matter exist? You know, science doesn't really know. These theoretical physicists, they don't know. They talk about string theory and energy. All we know for sure, or all they think we know for sure, is that energy exists and matter is energy in form. So in the world, truth can mean many things, but the truth of the Course is God exists. We're one with God, and there's no time and space. That's another thing that's hard to follow without experiencing it. I mean, I haven't experienced it. Some have, but yeah, that's the experience I hope for someday, and I'm anxiously awaiting. Thank you. That's my comment.
Thank you, Andrew. Rana.
Hello, Cindy. Hello, everyone. My friend Julie is here. Everybody say hi, Julie. I'm grateful you're here, Jules. So this is a part of the book that I've never obviously cracked open because there's no underline or anything. So that's fun. I love how I'm just kind of piecing the whole course together as you guys point to new parts and things that, because I've never sat down and read the text through. I've done the lessons, but I've never, had that opportunity and whatever. There's no fault in that. So, but I loved, for me, what this paragraph pointed to is it saying it cannot be described and not explained. But the paragraph does point to an action for me, and that is your heart lies where your treasure is. And so for me to have the experience or the potential experience of feeling, that perfect happiness, to let go of the story of the day, whatever the conditions that are trying to be met in the world, is to drop into the heart just for a moment and that pause, And at first, when that was first suggested that it could be that simple, just pause and take a break. Remember who you truly are, because the mind wanted to figure out how this all worked. And you guys just said, trust that this pause, that rooting myself in this present moment will start to relieve some of the suffering. And it has. And so I feel like that paragraph just points to that, truth can only be experienced. And here's how to do it. Move right into the heart and take a moment for that. I appreciated what Andrew said too, capital K knowledge. These are all English words, but I didn't have the flavor of what A Course in Miracles has given them. And I've been sitting with a page from Inner Ramana, which is the Regina Dawn Akers book that she received. And it says, knowledge is always accessible And it takes only desire to remember and realize this knowledge. So again, it points me back to that pausing for a moment, being willing to let go of the story, take it to the borderland, Andrew, take those seeming others with me there. And, the way it was, I heard it at first was the truth lays side by side of the illusion. And even though the mind did not understand what any of that meant, there was something that said, this has got to be it, that the way I'm perceiving this circumstance and this situation, this condition cannot be true because I am suffering, and then to try it, to be willing to try with a trust, God hasn't brought me this far to drop me now. And so a whole host of new tools have been given. And it works, it really does, and I can move out of the story and the illusion and remember that the truth is true. What the hell does that mean? I said to Cindy early on, what does the truth is true mean? And now the only way I can describe it is that moment of peace that I get in the pause, just in this remembrance that, this is kind of a play and that what's real can't be threatened, so thank you. Glad to be here today.
But first, I just wanted to say, hey, Bernadette, I see you're in the room and I know that you're busy doing, or I sense, but I wanted to just acknowledge your presence, and I always hold you and your sister in my heart. And if you talk to her, let her know I'll call her back again later this week. Hey, Livy.
Hey, Cindy. Hey, everybody. Welcome, Julie. Um, yeah, for me, especially the past week, I've been practicing allowing the feeling without adding story to it, to recognize that whatever feeling is coming up, and I don't have to match it with a story. Because as we're talking about, truth is true and knowledge is knowledge. And whatever uncomfortableness is coming up, it's a new practice for me to be with it and to not label it, as Sandy has, mentioned lots of times, and that's been helpful, to not label it as or name it, just allowing it to be there. And I don't know, and to be willing to see it differently and to recognize that I don't even know what exactly the feeling is. I may, if a story is coming in, it wants to attach this meaning to it, and then I find out that it's actually grief. And just allowing the grieving to come and just allowing the tears to come, just to be with the emotion, without attaching a story to it, knowing that truth is true, I guess is what I wanted to say. And that's a new way of approaching the feelings. And because there are so many stories swirling around right now, that especially family related, and I'm grateful that I don't have to attach to those, and I can be with what's real and just allow the feelings to be there and to move through and to be with it. And some days it feels really, really like, ugh, and it passes. Everything, there's just the impermanence of everything too, that I know as well. So anyway, just wanted to share that it's a new way of approaching being with feeling. And so just wanted to share that.
I'm inspired to say, this David Giham, which we're going to talk about. I didn't listen to his podcast yet, but I've been going through his teachings of Kabbalah. And right off the beginning, he teaches a practice, and it's pause. You say it out loud. Pause. What a gift. And so it lights me up because we talk about the pause a lot here. But his pointing is accepting that every time there's a trigger here, and this is Kabbalah language, so forgive the language. Every time there's a trigger here, it's a gift from the Creator with, and it contains within it the opportunity to expand the vessel. Again, Kabbalah words. But every time there's a trigger here, there's a gift from the divine or from truth that has within it the potential to become more like source. But key is, and he says, practice even when you don't mean it, to say out loud, pause. What a gift. What an opportunity. And so as I was listening to you share, it just came upon me to say that out loud. Hey, David.
Hey, yeah, truth is wonderful. Read that when you said it, and what I was thinking about, love is the truth, and only love is real. So only truth is real because it and love are the same thing. And I'm sitting here, and I was, and I'm just sitting here and just immersed in love. I mean, it's tangible. I mean, I can feel it. I can feel it in my arms and fingers and legs, and in my body. I've last couple of days or last 3 days, I've been doing things that are good for me, and that's loving myself. And so I appreciate that I brought all this love to myself, so thank you, self, for finding that hidden under the bushel basket. But all I had to do is change my mind, and I'm back there again in the good stuff. And so I'm not blowing my own horn or anything, but love and truth are they're always there. And all we have to do is know that, that's the knowing, and we don't have to describe it or, go back in 14 billion years and figure out how it all came about. It's just there. And I know it, and I'm sure we all know it. And so that's my story. So thank you.
Very happy you're here, Amy. There's a part
Oh,
of me that's sitting here looking at the next 2 weeks and wondering what we're going to do without you. But I'm
you're
choosing
gonna
to be here now.
you're gonna do great. Oh, I just love being here. I love us, and I'm so happy to be able to join today. I really looked forward to this, and I love that we can have these conversations and that we do have these conversations. And this is perfect happiness right here for me. And I think Indigo describes perfect happiness really well. I remember first reading Perfect Happiness 20 years ago, and I thought, what is that? It doesn't mean nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong according to the ego. How do I have never been in a situation where there's nothing wrong, or where I can't find anything to complain about? And then I learned, and it's what Indigo says, everything is for me. That's perfect happiness. When we realize that, and what Cindy, you said, pause, what a gift. That's Indigo as well. So isn't that perfect happiness? And this whole paragraph says it over and over again. Wholly blessed means the whole. The blessing is whole. It is the all. It is everything. And the conditions of truth. And David pointed that the conditions of truth are like the attributes of God: happiness, peace, calmness, satisfaction. Those are conditions of truth. Right? And that's one way of looking at it, because that's what truth is. And so those conditions are attributes. They promote seeing the truth. And then truth will dawn on you itself. Yes, right? You don't have to do anything. It comes of its own accord. All we have to do is know the attributes of truth, the conditions of truth, peace. So it dawns on us in that silence. Sometimes it breaks through the cacophony, but most of the time it comes quietly, like on little cat's feet, just like the fog. It just arises, right? And then the heart lies where your treasure is, as does his. It's the treasure for us is in the same place as God's, right? It's in the same place. And then we just can't become more like Source. We are Source. We can't become more like it. We can't get closer to it. We can't know it better. So, perfect happiness. That's what the truth is. It is perfect happiness. Go Indigo. Damn, I think about that woman every day. She is the best teacher. Love us.
You know, when I first read that, and and I go, that's Indigo. She could have written this paragraph.
Could have.
Hey, Rana.
Hey. So, Amy, that was great. You went through every line except for the last one.
I was going to do that, but I thought I was talking too much.
And with that last line, learn this of me and free the holy will of all those who are blessed as we are. This is that thing that we talk about, how me doing the work as an inside job is actually affecting the whole consciousness, the whole collective, I always think, something needs to be done on a global level. And this is like actually being done on a global level, is the impact of that. And then the other part of it was that experience of, all of a sudden these teachings just showing up in my life and me being called to them and more interested and having the questions. And that's because it's like the candles kind of carried from each of us to another. There was some sort of mystic punch on Facebook that I did, whatever. But basically, I met Cindy early on. She passed the candle to me. And now I get to pass it, not meaning to pass it. It's not efforting to pass it. It just gets passed, and there's no doer here. It's not Rana's spreading the message, it's consciousness itself, the message being spread through ourselves that aren't separate, starting to look at this truly as there's one thing going on. And I wanted to thank David, because when you said truth is love, yeah, love is the freedom to express any way it sees fit. And so when I get all caught up and things aren't the way I think they should be, I'm forgetting that love, that's what love is, the freedom for every infinite possibility of this. And my job is to choose again, ask to see it differently, make a better choice. So I can be perfectly happy, get above or below the story, so thank you.
Yeah, I was going to say, free the whole I will. When we are conscious that we share consciousness, that is another level of freedom. Because once we are conscious that we share consciousness, it changes everything. And that's love. So,
All right.
yeah,
So,
baby. Thank
so Julie, I'm assuming that since you're a friend of Rana and Livy, you're not super shy, right? So can I?
Yes, I'm not super shy.
Okay. So Livy's gonna laugh about that for days.
Yeah, yeah.
So Rana and I were talking on Friday, I guess, and she told me that you were invited to the meeting. She told me that you were a new course student, but that you have this inner interest in learning more. And
Yeah.
it was in that conversation that I opened, like at the end of that conversation, before it was over, I opened the book and this paragraph lit up. And the teaching came knowing, came from that conversation with Rana with the idea that someone who was just introduced to the Course in Miracles and may or may not become a part of an open door and all that other stuff arose. So I'm curious, are there questions or thoughts or awarenesses or anything you'd like to share with this group? Some people in this group have been in the course for decades, right? Others of us, not so much. Some of us call the course our home. Others love the course, but, study a lot of other things too. We're just hanging out. But I'd love to give you the space to share whatever's coming up.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Well, I'm very honored to be that Rana and Libby, through my friendships with them, that I'm learning, to have a better spiritual life. And so Rana had sent me a video. I can't think of the name of it, and I've been using it every morning, and it's about love. And when David said that, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so wow. And for me, I get a little overwhelmed because I feel like, oh, I'm not smart enough for this. I don't know if I'm going to ask questions, if they're going to be right and wrong. But then I have to realize that's my ego, and that I have to just, be willing. And I think that's this journey I'm on now is really about love, about that it is the truth. And I loved and just learning that today has been like, wow, I kind of feel like we're like the hippies of the 60s, because when you look back at that and that to me, I was young at that age, but that was such a tumultuous time. I felt like in the United States, and now I feel like it's kind of like that now. And so it's going back to that love. It's all we need. And so, yeah, I'm just really excited to be part of this journey. And I know my friendships with Ron and Libby, that if I ask something, it's going to be received with love, and it won't be like, why'd you ask that? So that's where I'm learning is just ask it. That's the only way you learn. And so, yeah, this is my journey for today, and we'll see where it takes me. But I'm very happy to be here.
Very happy to have you here. Yeah. This idea that you need knowledge to be part of this group or to feel like you belong to this group. It's not what truth. As soon as you put a word to something, you've taken a 1 degree away from what truth is. So
okay, good to know.
We're all the same. I'm going to call on Barbie, even though it may be putting her on the spot or not. But Barbie represents someone who has spent months or years in my world telling me that others know more than she does, and who here thinks Barbie's one of her greatest teachers.
Well, Cindy, I was debating whether to come on now. I was really waiting for Richard to tell us that he loves us, and that would be the icing on top of the cake. Because what I've been going through was terrible this weekend. I mean, I literally bitched at God for what I was going through. Then I was sorry for it, but I knew it was what I needed because it brought up some same scars that I thought was healed, but I never thought of it for like 20 years or so. but I'm feeling better, a little bit better. And I thought I was healing, but now hearing everybody else, I know I am healed. And I just, I just felt the hugs and love and everything when what I was going through, and I made it through, and it's getting better every day. But I think I was in the deepest. I've been down deep before, and it's not depression, but I think maybe it's the dark night of the soul, but was the worst. But I made it through. I lived through a couple of days, and I'm fine.
So, but
Thank you.
if you did text me and I did hold you and you did feel it, yeah?
And I did feel it. And I felt it all during, because at 2 hours that I talked to God and we settled it. He brought up the samskaras and I healed it. And after the 2 hours, it was like a weight was lifted, because then the next day I asked my husband exactly when did this happen? Because I'm forgetting dates and times and whatever, but we nailed it down. And now I'm feeling better. I'm lighter, and I know it'll come up because I just first touched it and it'll come up again, but I'm feeling a hell of a lot better. And I said, God, I am so sorry I bitched at you, because that's not the word I used. I said, fuck it, God, why are you doing this to me? And I think he understood. And I said, please, God, help me understand what you're doing to me. And I'm getting healed. And I
Well,
got
listen, yeah,
and I
go-
got this class and everything because I finally listened to last Thursday's class. Dad gave me some more insight. And now, when you're talking about this class, next Thursday's class, I'm going to get more insight. And whatever the meditations were, he just brought it up. I felt his presence. I felt the love. I felt everything. So,
isn't it so friggin' cool to be able to get like enrage directed towards the creator or God and like let it all out and then go, oh shit, he didn't go any he, she, it didn't go anywhere. I'm still being held.
and
You
he
want to
did
see how
help me.
awful I am, God? And just like throw up all over it and then, oh, look at that. Presence is still here. Yeah, I'm glad you're
Thank you.
part of it. Love you, Barb.
Love you too. Love
Richard
you
must
all.
love you too, which is why his hand went up, right? When you said, I'm waiting for Richard to tell me how much he loves me.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Love you all. Great shares as always. Barb, I want you to know, Barbie, I've had a number of conversations like that over the years with God, the Holy Spirit, Jesus, my higher self, you name it. I've had, and they use the same language you use in those conversations. What a WTF would be a weird way to say how I address those conversations. I'm doing everything I think the course is telling me to do, and where the hell are the results? So, with regard to the reading today, knowing I was raised, my conditioning as a separate self was if I want to know something, I have to study it, and then I have to understand it. And then maybe I know it if I understand it. So that was the approach I took with the course. And and I realized I remember in the introduction to the course in the FIP version is that one of the sections said a universal theology is impossible. But the universal experience is not only possible, but necessary. So, and then I heard people talk about revelation. And I said, oh, that's what I want. That's what knowledge is. As a finite individual self, my mind will never understand or know reality. it's impossible because the truth is infinite. So, but I can experience. The Course says I can experience. I can never know it, but I can experience it. So, if I do the right things, and so then I found a quote in the Course that said, after a number of years thinking my goal was to experience revelation. Then I found a quote in the Course that says, revelation will come to every mind, but the time is set. You cannot control it. So I realize now there's nothing I can do to experience revelation. It will come when it comes, or it won't come. It may not come in this lifetime. It may come tomorrow. It may come in the present moment. So I said, well, I'm going to stop making that my goal. I'm going to focus on what the Course says I really am. And I love the recent lessons that talk about God is love and love is happiness. And now I've realized for a while, whenever I'm not happy, I'm in my wrong mind. I'm in the mind of the separate self. I'm not in the mind of who I really am in truth, the love that I really am in truth. So whenever I'm not happy, I'm in the wrong mind. So I have to get back to the right mind. And I can choose again to do that. But so I welcome Julie to our lovely course of the Course in Miracles. We love talking about it. We all try to understand it in our own way. None of us can understand it, but we all seem to be experiencing it, particularly in these meetings and these gatherings, where we share love with each other by expressing the words, which are symbols of symbols twice removed from reality, as the Course says, and we just get together and love each other, and that brings happiness to our hearts and raises our consciousness. So we're helping everybody in the world by only helping ourselves. Love you all. I have to leave a little early, so I'll be leaving shortly.
Thanks for letting us know. Otherwise, some of us will decide it's because you hate us. No matter how many times you say, love you all, there's still a part of us that says, oh, what did I do wrong?
Well, I realized a few weeks ago, or maybe a couple of months ago, I love your phrase better, but I didn't want to take love us all. When I say love you all, I'm including myself. So, but I don't want to love us all as your phrase, or my phrase is love you all. So,
yeah.
And
So
I
you
love all y'all. So yeah, we got it all.
So here's where it gets very funny. You go ahead and say love us all you want. I say it all the time. My daughter even found a little plaque in like Target or Home Sense or something. It's on my window. But where I got really funny is I say it all the time. One of my sisters decided I meant I love my sisters, right? She even created these bracelets and sent it to I love us. And then she heard me say it to somebody else. She got really upset.
Specialness.
Right. And I'm like, I couldn't stop laughing.
Probably made it all better when you laughed.
Oh yeah. Like it surprised me. I've been saying it for years. I have another friend, my friend Yvonne in Germany, who says every time she sees me write it, especially since I write it in capitals, because it's she says in her mind it gets recreated as I love the USA. And I'm like, I don't even like, there's no part of me that had that in my mind until she said it. Yeah. Anybody else waiting for Sandra to start speaking? Because I'm sitting here just sort of waiting for Sandra to start speaking, and maybe she won't.
Chuck and Josephine too.
Chuck, you have anything to say?
Well, I was hoping that you were going to talk. This is such an amazing experience here today. So many things that I've been experiencing that got addressed. It's over. Well, I don't want to go on too long on my journey from the truth, but the love thing, you know, and Barb, because I've been feeling fractured, and I had a few days here where I was recognizing it. I'm getting a self-pity, and I went right to the higher power with it. I didn't, and I was going, all of this, and what's going on? And I had just recently taken down a quote somebody said, that I wanted love to be the author of my story, and I was forgetting all that, although I knew the pause, and then y'all pointed it out with Indigo, and that all this is for me, and I've had the opportunity to apply this. So it's all over the place, but it's just been an amazing experience. Y'all touching me in one way or another. You know, I started, the truth story started for me. You heard me share it, but when I got in the 12-step, I'd always heard the truth will set you free and never knew what the heck that meant. Kind of like what Ron and in the 12-step thing, I had that picture where they had the person in the cross and said the truth will set you free, but first it'll make you miserable. And I was relating that to the 4th-step and getting to see all this stuff. And then I got to the course and found that the truth will set you free was recognizing that we're all innocent and separation is not true. But then today I was telling me I can't have an intellectual concept of this to begin with. I'm never going to know it. I'm going to have to experience it. And Richard reminded me, one of the first things that I grabbed a hold of that hit me was that thing that he shared today, when the universal theology is impossible, but a universal experience is now impossible but necessary. And I was relating that to the 12-step experience I had. Wow, because I recognized the 12-step program was one of experience, not knowledge. And then it came here to the course. So I've just been kind of overwhelmed by everything that everybody's been sharing that's been landing with me today. And I do love you all, and I welcome Julie along with everybody else. Glad to have you here. And I'm going to let Sandra, because I'm looking forward to hear what Sandra has to say.
I just had a sense that you had something to say. I'm just sitting here marinating in the beauty of the sadness I'm feeling today. Marinating in it because a dear friend's husband was in hospice and passed last night, and I was with her. And I'm feeling that sadness, a beautiful sadness, not of loss, but of gain, of the beauty of his life. You know, just life. And my eyes caught, as Amy was going through this line by line, which was so lovely, my eyes landed on the paragraph right before that. There's a question that's a really amazing question. Can you be separated from your life and your being? Yes, Amy, I'm glad you're laughing at that. A resounding no, right? No, you cannot be separated. And I am experiencing life in all of its, majesty. And it's life has not, the actual living has not changed. What has changed is the truth being experienced about the life. Isn't that beautiful? Truth can only be experienced. And as we experience it and allow it and treasure it, as we talked about Wendigo treasuring it, feeling that life coming through, it cannot be described. It cannot be explained. But it is here. Carol, how I spent too many years trying to figure out how to separate from who I am to be something else. And all the while, what does it say? The journey is merely the reawakening of the knowledge of where you are always and what you are forever. A journey without distance to a goal that has never changed. That's all right before, that's in the paragraph right before. And so, my lovely dear friends, oh, it's so good to see all of you. Look, Wendigo has joined us. We've been talking about you.
Yeah, we have. There was a line in that song, I got a memoir that said, "Journey to the home we never left." And I was
I
sinking
heard
into
that.
that as you were sharing, Sandra, and all the rest of it. What a beautiful gift your presence is. Josephine, what a beautiful gift your presence is.
You were just saying, and that's one of the sayings I always remember, we're on a journey without distance to a place we never left. No, I really just want to sort of apologize. In a sense, I have received so much from this group in the short time I've been here, and especially you, Cindy, the learning and the teaching, many. And so my apology is that whereas even as a kid, I would always be raising my hand because I always had something to say. They used to call me in my family Medice because I would always interject with whatever I wanted to say, I thought, etc. But I'm experiencing a totally different feeling with this group. I need to take in so much because it really, really, especially with the Course in Miracles, really, I have been able to put my mind on not so much the learning, which I intellectualize everything, and I have to understand it intellectually. One of the things I am now working with, feeling, and being happy about is that it's about the experience. It is not about learning it, but how to put it into practice. So this class here is so appropriate for my needs. And so coming back to my apology, I don't feel I have much to contribute as much as I have to receive. And I am so grateful and thank you all for that. And I love you all as well.
If apologizing is somehow useful to you, go ahead and speak it. But I say this with all the love that I can. It's not accepted here because it's not understood. The apology is not understood. We're ultimately we join energetically and vibrationally, and our words help carry that, but they're not it. And you were a missing piece in this group. And every time you show up, I am blessed. So, like I said, if you have a need for an apology, then you're welcome to it. But I don't know how to receive it in a way that's authentic because I don't understand it.
There's another teaching. Thank you, Cindy.
I gotta add. Josephine, what she just said, the missing piece in this group. I didn't know how much I loved you until you showed up here, and I'm excited every time I see you. And that's why I poked you to share. You know, it's not, I can't even explain it, but I just want you to know that you are welcome and loved here and just a peer, right? A peer amongst peers. And I love you.
Thank you. Thank you.
David.
I'm going to say similar things. Josie, when you started appearing back into my Zoom life, I said, "Oh, good, she's back," because you're so wise, and when you say stuff, I go, "Oh, wow, that's really good." And so I'm so happy that you're back. Thank you. And also, in Dago, can you tell us how much God loves us?
We are so loved. We can't even, there's no words.
And how is this moment for you, Nadego? When somebody said, "Oh my God, Nadego's here, we've been talking about you," we keep quoting you when you're not here, just so you know.
I'm so happy. I'm just so happy. And actually I'm doing the 40-day program again, and it's so amazing to do it again. So I'm just so happy. I just don't, yeah, it's amazing to be here with all of you, and to know this love that we are. It is just such a blessing. It's just so amazing. We are so blessed. So yeah, it's amazing to be here. So yes. And it's amazing for me to see all of the struggle and the pain that people are believing, are experiencing. It's so amazing for me just to be here and to send them all my love and to tell them that's not who you are. It's not who you are. And if they don't hear, it's okay. I can send them my love. And that everything is perfect exactly as it is. So I love all of you so much. And I
love you. Any word about getting out of rehab yet? Are you walking yet?
Oh yeah, I'm starting to walk now yeah, I'm learning how to walk again. Or yeah, so that's amazing. So I'm doing that every day. Well, no, Monday through Friday, I'm doing that. And I did ask them when I'm going to get out, and they said they don't know yet. So, but I am making a lot of progress. So
awesome.
That's amazing to me. And yeah, and it's amazing for me just to see everyone is that everything is perfect exactly as it is. That's what's amazing to me.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right, I'm turning the recording off. For anyone who wants to, we're listening to the guides at 3 a.m. Eastern.